How the U.S. lost ground to China in the contest for clean energy. Tom Perriello saw it coming but could do nothing to stop it. Andre Kapanga, too. Despite urgent emails, phone calls, and personal pleas, they watched helplessly as the company backed by the Chinese government took ownership from the Americans of one of the world's largest cobalt mines. It was 2016, and a deal had been struck by the Arizona-based mining giant Freeport-McMoRan to sell the site, located in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which now figures prominently in China's grip on the global cobalt supply. The metal has been among several essential raw materials needed for the production of electric car batteries, and is now critical to retiring the combustion engine and weaning the world off climate-changing fossil fuels. Mr. Perriello, a top U.S. diplomat in Africa at the time, sounded alarms in the State Department. Mr. Kapanga, then the mine's Congolese general manager, all but begged the American ambassador in Congo to intercede. "This is a mistake," Mr. Kapanga recalled, warning him, suggesting the Americans were squandering generations of relationship building in Congo, the source of more than two-thirds of the world's cobalt. Presidents starting with Dwight D. Eisenhower had sent hundreds of millions of dollars in aid, including transport planes and other military equipment, to the mineral-rich nation. Richard Nixon intervened, as did the State Department under Hillary Clinton, to sustain the relationship, and Freeport-McMoRan had invested billions of its own before it sold the mine to a Chinese company. How about that? Chinese company. Not only did the Chinese purchase of the mine, known as Tenke Fungurume, go through uninterrupted during the final months of the Obama administration, but 4 years later, during the twilight of the Trump presidency, so did the purchase of an even more impressive cobalt reserve that Freeport-McMoRan put on the market. The buyer was the same company, China Molybdenum. China's pursuit of Congo's cobalt wealth is part of a disciplined playbook that has given it an enormous head start over the United States in the race to dominate the electrification of the auto industry, along a key driver of the global economy. But an investigation by the New York Times revealed a hidden history of the cobalt acquisitions, in which the United States essentially surrendered the resources to China, failing to safeguard decades of diplomatic and financial investments in Congo. The sale of the two mines, also flush with copper, highlights the shifting geography and politics of the clean energy revolution, with countries rich in cobalt, lithium, and other raw materials needed for batteries suddenly playing the role of all giants. The loss of the mines happened under the watch of President Barack Obama, consumed with Afghanistan and the Islamic State, and President Donald J. Trump, a climate change skeptic committed to fossil fuels, and the electoral forces behind them. More broadly, it had roots in the end of the Cold War, according to previously classified documents and interviews with senior officials in the Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden administrations. For decades, The United States worried that the Soviet Union would gain control of Congo's copper, cobalt, uranium, and other materials used in defense manufacturing. Securing U.S. interests there was a topic of presidential level concern and involved extensive interventions by the Central Intelligence Agency. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, both Democratic and Republican administrations shifted attention away from containing communism and slashed generous financial aid that had helped American companies do business in Congo, the documents and interviews show. In Africa in particular, the United States pivoted toward human rights and good governance issues, and globally, after 2001, the war on terror became an all-consuming occupation. Mr. Perriello, who has since left government, said he learned of the plan in 2016 to sell Tenke Fungurume not long after touring the mine. The owner had a tarnished reputation for its operation in other countries, and Mr. Perriello had counted himself a skeptic. Still, he was convinced that the American ownership was good not only for the United States, but for the people of Congo. Freeport-McMoRan got largely favorable reviews on the ground, was employing thousands of Congolese, and had built schools and healthcare clinics. I'm going to stop here because they're doing some work outside and it's noise is coming right through. I'm just going to scroll here. Anybody wants to continue reading this article? The Chinese are ahead of us. Write an article. It's a long article. So, in the end, they say nobody even talked about this, said Nazak Nikata, who until January served as the Commerce Department Assistant Secretary in charge of tracking critical mineral supply. It is horrible. I mean, this is really unfortunate. The sale to China molybdenum for $550 million went ahead as announced a month before Mr. Trump left office. With it, the last major U.S. investment in Congo's cobalt and copper mines evaporated.